What's up, everybody? Welcome to the TBS Lounge. We got random FPV, Chris here with us from Quad House. What's up, Chris? How's your week been?
What's up, brother? Been great, man. How about yourself?
Oh, busy, busy. I just finished my beta FPV build. We did like three live streams on it to show like how to set it up, how to solder it, and how to get it ready. So we just did the maiden flight about an hour ago. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I saw that. They're outside of the headquarters, right?
Outside of the headquarters, yeah, the secret lair. Yeah, but everything else has been good.
Cool. Same here. I've
Uh,
just been busy keeping up with repairs and some new builds I've got going too. So,
cool, man. Have you talked about your business already? Here on the lounge.
no, not really. Didn't really want to, just shamelessly self promote on my own live stream. But yeah,
Well,
I run Quad House and we do repairs and builds. So if anybody's out there in FPV land having trouble with the quads giving you a fit, or you just don't have time and you want a new build, contact me at randomfpv@gmail and I'll get you set up.
that's awesome, man. How's that been going for you?
It's been
Keeping
going
busy?
great. Yeah, it's keeping me pretty busy. I usually have at least a couple customers every week, and the biggest thing for me that I love is just getting people back in the air, man. It's really nice to have somebody that's like, well, I couldn't fix this quad or I didn't have time, um, to see them fly it and get enjoyment out of it. So,
Oh, totally. I totally get that. Like just now with the setup on the beta FPV, I was like, holy shit, man! Like for newbie, there were some stumbling blocks, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's difficult, but there were some stumbling blocks. That I would probably like as a complete beginner to this, I probably would not have been able to solve them.
the pin headers and stuff I know were probably a little bit difficult.
Yeah, well, I I opted to do that, but probably wasn't necessary. But even then, like it didn't really fly right. It had like washout issues and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So anyway, how's everybody else been doing in the chat? We got Paul, we got Matt. Well, Matt's already ready, so he's going to be on in about 15 minutes talking about AI. So let's get right to it, man. We want to, as usual with the lounge, we talk about the new products real quick. I just made a screen ready. Actually, that's why I was stalling. I don't know if anybody really noticed. Um,
Wait for it. Wait for it.
little small talk. And here we go. So we're talking about new products here. We got the Actuna patch. I actually just used that for the tiny whoop flight. It's a little bit two directional, so I'm going to put a second like a lower gain patch to get like the all around coverage. But that's like a ultimate long range antenna, and it's just like $35, right? Um, I've seen people fly to Macau from Hong Kong, which is, it's another country over the ocean, like 30, 40 kilometers on 5.8. In Hong Kong environment, which is pretty hazy, so it's bad for 5.8. So it's a good antenna. So yeah, that's pretty solid. Um, then we got Actuna. Actuna is a Polish company that we call it the Polish IB crazies. uh, and they got some pretty cool antennas. They got like a linear antenna, a patch antenna, and a circular polarized antenna. Um, if you want to know how good it is, it's been cloned by Banggood. That's how good it is.
I've
So
actually
that's
been
the
using I've been using those antennas for a while.
really,
If they're out of Poland. Are they the company that tunes them? They come and
yeah,
yeah. I've been using those for almost a year. From eBay is where I got them. So I'm glad to see you got them now.
yeah. We're stocking them, and we can't keep them in stock, so they're pretty good. Apparently, I haven't flown them yet, but our customers have been telling us really great things.
Yeah, I've had great.
Um,
Highly recommend
yeah,
them.
yeah, totally recommended. Can't go wrong with these guys. Next up, we got the Yakuza frame out of Singapore. A buddy of mine makes these. He's an awesome breakdancer and FPV racer. I met him in Turkey, and he showed me this frame. Um, just like a small guy doing awesome things, innovating, trying to establish himself in this space. So TBS is helping him out. and you can buy these frames from us. Yakuza frame. Racing, it's kind of like a lightweight racing frame. The special thing about it is you got in the middle section, it's CNC cut aluminum. So it's really neat and tidy. You don't need any washers and nuts and all that stuff. It's just a sandwich plate, arms, and then the aluminum plate, and you just screw it together. Super, super easy. There we go. And then the next thing we got is the Ethics ND4 tempered glass filter for the GoPro. Have you used ND filters before in your GoPro?
Yeah, I have. They make a gigantic difference when it comes to Jello.
Yeah, yeah, and this here is additionally it's tempered glass, so it's scratch resistant. It's going to protect your lens, preventing you from from expensive repairs on your on actually like a GoPro is more than your quad, right? So
Yeah,
people are like worried about breaking frames. I'm like, no, man, you got to worry about the GoPro. The rest is cheap and repairable.
And replaceable. I can't forget about that footage too.
And last but not least, we got the Real Pit. Oh yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Last but not least, we got the Real Pit VTX power switch. It'll just allow you to turn off your VTX using the Pin IO feature on Betaflight. It's really good for team racing. That's made by Tiny LEDs, Tyler Foreman, and I guess it's a collaboration with Zachary Rodenbucher out of California. There we go. That's that. I really wanted to. Holy crap! We got the live chat going here on my. Man, is there any way to turn that off? Do you know?
Turn it off in what regard?
Like, do you have the chat window stop popping up?
Oh, there. No, I don't
Stuff.
turn that off. I guess you could like shut off notifications from that person, but that wouldn't stop somebody else from messaging and it popping up.
Yeah, man.
I'll look into that.
That's super annoying. Whatever. So we got this thing here. This video from Marek Hanuliak, flying a right-wing Drac. It's just an awesome plane, man. Super smooth, and he's flying it in the golden hour, so it's always a pleasure to watch. I don't know, man. Wings just like they have that continuous motion for me, which is really awesome.
Yeah, I love how I mean they're just always forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just keeps it going, keeps it interesting. You can't stop either, so it's not just the pilot. All right. So all these videos you can find them on the TBS Lounge, by the way. So we're only showing videos from the lounge, and we're only showing like little highlight clips. This one here is super scary. I don't know if you've seen this one. I'm not gonna. There we go. Can you see it random or
Yeah, I'm watching the playback.
Well, there's going to be like a 15-second lag on it. So there's like I don't know what it is. It's probably a Raven.
Coming in hot.
Yeah, coming in super hot, man. It was awesome to see. He got lucky too. Like he just turned it around just in the right time.
Ooh,
and we're moving on to a video from Finky FPV. He's a TBS sponsored pilot. He's just been going on a trip and flying long range around. I think it's the French Alps. Looks like the French Alps. He's having a good time. You guys should watch it. Like it's a really long video. I think it's like 15 minutes, 12 minutes. So it's a pretty long video, but just from the teaser, you can see like a couple of dudes climbing up mountains and just ripping it long range.
What it's all about. We featured him about a month ago on FPV Live, actually. A great
pilot.
pilot.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Was he on like physically or just his videos?
No, he was on. Yeah, we had him on for an
Oh,
episode.
awesome, awesome.
I actually was in touch with him
Yeah, man,
before.
he's a super.
Oh, he's a great pilot. I was in touch with him before he was ever sponsored to have him on the show, and then in between booking him and him actually being on, he picked up you guys and I think Armaton as well. So interesting.
Awesome, man. Yeah,
Good
he's
guy.
doing great things, man. His freestyle in the bandos is unreal. Like the lines he picks, just
Yeah,
amazing.
very impressive pilot and a great person. He loves featuring his friends too, so he can't knock a guy for that.
Um, this guy here, I mean, everybody knows Air Blaster. That this video just completely blew my mind. It's all drone footage, or most of it is drone footage. Um, yeah, well that part isn't, but you know how he's like chasing drift cars in a mini quad down like tight mountain roads, and he just always times it perfectly.
Yeah, that setup where he came out of the woods, you couldn't even see the car. So that's like a
Yeah,
drone log setup shot. That's incredible.
yeah. We also have some like one shot from him on our Instagram today, of him. Well, that like the backwards shot. That's just amazing. It's really hard to do. Just a
Whoa.
level of coordination required between the driver and the drone pilot. Awesome stuff. Air Blaster killing it as usual, um, on the TBS Lounge and everywhere else. All right, so that's it for videos. We want to go through a couple of posts that the community has made that really stood out in the last 1 to 2 weeks, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this one. The guy that modded his Tyrannus to include the Crossfire 2-watt TX inside. Um, so he's been like it looks super sick, and it seems like it's a laborious process. Have you ever
Wow.
done something like that before? Like, I guess it's with clay, or do you know how he did that?
Yeah, no, it looks like what, maybe a modeling clay. Man, I can't say I've ever done anything like that. The electronics modification side I could definitely help with, but
Yeah,
the physical side I would struggle personally with that probably.
yeah, man. And he made it look as if it was part of the actual
That's
remote. So
beautiful,
that was crazy,
actually.
man. It's beautiful. Beautiful work. Tip Nadraj. I probably butchered that name. Um, yeah, and we got everybody like chiming in and showing love. This thing here actually just got posted today. It's a vendetta. Wayne has been helping him to set it up apparently, and this is a TBS vendetta with like I guess like whoop protectors. But on the outside there's LEDs, and he's using these to inspect mines.
Wow. It's like a gigantic bumper vendetta.
Yeah, yeah, it's or a big whoop. Oh yeah, pretty awesome stuff. I can't like I hope he gets to publish some footage. I'm guessing he can go with that into places where it would be too dangerous for humans to go. Um, pretty awesome drone. I hope he gets it back from the missions.
Yeah, no doubt.
Um, here we got it. Well, I guess this would have been a spot on the video, but I don't think the video is that special. But Bryce, he kind of modified a mini quad to do some really like unnatural shots. If I mean this stuff is normal, but you see how he's like flying kind of backwards here. I don't know how he does it, but he said he's been working on it for quite some time. And especially if you see the last shot, you'll see some like really cool potential.
And this with a 5-inch?
This is apparently with I don't know if it's a 5-inch, but it's like a mini quad type setup. But he can do like
Whoa.
backward shots with it. So like he's going up, but actually filming down. Stuff you couldn't normally do with a mini quad.
Interesting.
And he said he doesn't really want to show it off yet. Like I guess he's gonna bring it out through Rebel, through Rebel mini quads. He's gonna release the frame. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Nice teaser.
A real quick, yeah, man. Yeah, I hate those people, man. I hate them. Rugi is another one of these. He's like, oh, I get the perfect setup now. And it's like, so what is it? And he never tells. Yeah, this here is Daniel Kovler out of Austria, and it has nothing to do with mini quads, but I just thought it was super awesome. It's like a 360-degree camera strapped to the back of a really low speed glider flight.
Man,
that guy's low, right? Like
it looks fake. I mean,
it
it's
almost looks fake. Yeah,
you can tell it's not, but it sure does look a little questionable. It's so unusual, you know.
Yeah, these are like ski slopes, right? So he's skiing down like what in winter will be a ski slope. That's why it's so flat, and that's why he can go so low. But yeah, he's I don't know, like he's inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway, pretty awesome stuff. All bite, not drone related. And last but not least, I know we had this epic crash competition, and this guy probably would have won. He just completely obliterated a power cube stack. I've never seen a stack that's this messed up before. Like, take a look at that angle, man. That's a good 15-degree tilt on the power cube. The frame looks fine though, so that's pretty interesting.
Man, that had to be a hard crash.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even want to know how hard that crash was. Oh my god! All right, let's get the hell out of here. Cut. There we go. Just a sec. So let's get Matt Bardeen in here, and talk about what I really want to talk about today. So we managed to do it in 20 minutes, man. What we usually talk about on the lounge in an hour, we compressed it down to 20 minutes so that we got space for Matt to talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and how it relates to drones. I don't know how far we'll get today. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, good, good. Hopefully you can hear me, see me all right?
Yes, we can see you perfectly.
Excellent.
Awesome.
I'm just here with my coffee, enjoying the chat so far.
Yeah, man. So how's life? I hear you're going to the US tomorrow.
Yeah, actually tonight. I kind of left the house in a daze this morning, trying to get everything that I needed, because basically I'm trying to take one bag and not a lot, because but number one, I'm going to Panama City, Florida. It just got hit by a hurricane, so there's not a lot of services. So I'm trying to prepare for that. And I'm going there to help my father repair my grandma's house, or at least get it in a state where it can be repaired later by a contractor.
So was that just recently? Did it just get hit recently?
Yeah, it was just recently. It's probably 2 weeks ago, Hurricane Michael came through, and the eye wall went right over my grandma's house. So,
that's bad, man.
Yeah, yeah. We're really not sure what's going to happen with the house. It may be totaled. We don't know, but that's where it is. So that's what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, luckily we managed to move the lounge a day ahead to have you still talk about artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I stumbled upon artificial intelligence through the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk, where like everybody was talking about that he like took a puff on a joint.
Yeah.
But I was way more interested on everything else, pretty much. Who cares? And so, like, I don't know, I got into this rabbit hole of artificial intelligence videos on YouTube that have just been playing constantly in the background. And obviously, through machine learning, YouTube now thinks I'm super interested in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, of
And
course.
therefore, all the videos I get are about artificial intelligence. So I thought I would reach out to the community. And interestingly enough, you are a professor, right? In
Yes,
artificial
I'm a professor in computer science, and my specialty was artificial intelligence and more artificial life type stuff. But I know enough of artificial intelligence to be able to talk intelligently about it.
All right. All right. Okay. So can you walk us through what are what are the different types of artificial intelligence? What are its properties? And where are we at in terms of research?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, artificial intelligence is the idea that we can make machines do intelligent things, and it's kind of a rabbit. It's kind of a moving target, because once you make a machine do something intelligent, and you can actually specify what that is in an algorithm, it's no longer artificial intelligence. So back in the 40s, people got really interested in artificial intelligence, thinking, yeah, we can make a computer think. We can make a computer intelligent, do the things that we can. And the best way they came up with to measure this artificial intelligence is to compare it to humans. That's the famous Turing test. I don't know if you've run across that. But
yeah,
so
that's basically just making sure that a human can no longer distinguish between a robot and a human.
Exactly. So if you can't see what you're talking to, and you can't distinguish between a human and a robot, then yeah, it's got to be intelligent. So that's where it started. It's kind of evolved into different branches. There's the logical AI, which is based on logic statements. If P, then Q, things like that. That was in the 60s, 70s prevalent. In the 80s, there was this movement for neural networks. They thought neural networks were going to be the future. And they kind of died off into the 90s and 2000s. And then with Google DeepMind, they can kind of have come back into the forefront again. And when you hear the word deep learning, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about this idea of neural networks, but really intricate neural networks, really complex neural networks.
Yeah, at first they were just like one layer, right? And now they've become multi-layered.
Yeah, they're actually based on the architecture of the human visual cortex. So the idea that you have these multiple layers, they call them convolution layers, and each layer does a specific type of processing. We don't know what that processing is, but as it's learning, it acquires, it's looking at different characteristics, and through these different layers, there are probably more than 5-6 layers. And that's what they refer to when they say deep learning. So. And there's nothing really new about them in terms of what they're actually doing. It's just that they've expanded that and are using modern hardware to actually be able to learn efficiently with them.
So I mean, obviously, computers are way more motivated than humans, right? So they can do a task like really well repetitively, and that means that they're going to be learning and improving over time much more rapidly than a human being. But when you say like in modern hardware, how does that compare to the biological counterparts?
Biology is inherently parallel. So, you have, I don't know, 10,000 neurons in your brain, and all of them are doing things simultaneously. right? Whereas most computer hardware, you have 4 processors, 5 processors. The NVIDIA is really what's kind of set off this um, modern renaissance in neural networks, is because they have tons of cores that do really simple stuff. And that's exactly what neurons do. So you have bunches of neurons that connect. Each neuron is really simple, but in aggregate, they actually produce something very interesting, which is us.
Yeah, yeah. So like if we compare to like let's say a state-of-the-art computer and a human brain, how many times more neurons or how many times more processing power do we currently have?
I couldn't guess that. Much
Yeah,
more, much more.
much
Just the
more.
fact that, yeah, just the fact that it's all parallel is it offers a range of capability to us that computers just can't match at the moment. Eventually, we'll probably get to that point. And
At the moment, yeah, that's the key word, right?
at the moment, the thing is that computers, well, they're not really motivated. They do whatever you tell them to do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's some kind of motivation, right?
yeah, a little bit. And they'll do it the same way every time, and that's good and bad at the same time. It basically, yeah, one of the main problems that they have is actually training these neural networks to do interesting tasks. And you might think that, oh, actually creating the mechanisms is the hardest part of artificial intelligence or machine learning, but it's really how you train it that's more interesting.
Yeah, isn't that something like I've seen a video where they're training an artificial intelligence to drive Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So that's and they were saying in that video it's actually pretty simple to train AIs to do computer games because the reward system is built into the thing, right?
Exactly. Actually, this kind of dovetails nicely into one of my other hobbies, which is Go, the game of Go, and
Yeah.
Google DeepMind first gained really prominence because they were able to create a computer game or a computer agent that can play Go much better than humans can, which is really impressive. That was one of the long-standing problems in games, but they did that using what they call reinforcement learning. So basically, in most machine learning, you have to have labeled cases, labeled examples of something to be able to say, yeah, this is a cat, or this is a picture of a cat, and this is a picture of a dog. And then you show a bunch of pictures of cats and dogs. And through guessing, eventually, and basically saying, no, you're wrong, computer, that's wrong. That's a dog, that's not a cat. And you do that over and over again. And eventually the computer will learn, okay, these are the characteristics that say this is a picture of a cat and this is a picture of a dog. But with, for example, Go, you don't have that. You don't have an expert that can say, yeah, this is a good move, this is a bad move. So what they did is they exploited the property of the game. They have that reward, which is, did you win the game or did you lose the game? And then,
Yeah.
and then basically using that, they can basically extrapolate backwards and create a neural network that can then say, yeah, these moves are bad, these moves are good. And then separately, they had another neural network that said, this board state is good and this board state is bad. So they had one neural network that was choosing the best moves, and then one neural network that was evaluating how the board was, how good the board was. And that was their approach to creating the AlphaGo.
So pretty much like I mean, I've learned about neural networks when I was in university probably like 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
So what I'm guessing is the way that neural networks are made hasn't really improved that much. It's just the processing power that's improved
exactly,
significantly, obviously, and the way that these experiments are set up.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Okay, that's really interesting. Um, so, um, how are you relating any of this to drones?
Well, there's a bunch of things that we can do with drones. For example, Lockheed Martin just came out with a um, alpha pilot competition, and the idea there is you train an artificial intelligence to be able to fly some unknown drone racing course uh, autonomously. So no human interaction. The drone has to fly the course, and that right there, I think, is a good has potential to use deep learning because basically it is visual processing. And since they're using the basic architecture from your visual cortex, it seems like it's a good match.
Is that's going to be basically where they're going to have a sets of sensors and say some things that can scan and pick up gates or whatnot. And it's got to combine that with some sort of artificial reasoning, I guess.
Exactly. It's basically, yeah. Most race courses you follow a line, right? They have cones on the ground, so they have to be able to process those cones. They have to process the gates to see, yeah, okay, I'm going to turn left now, or I'm going to turn right now, or I'm going to do a split S to dive through this gate. So probably the first approximations to this, to attacking this problem, will be just something simple, like basically 2D course on a soccer field, something like that, and then eventually they'll build up this 3D capability.
So are you working on something like this as well, or?
I'd like to, but yeah, I would like to, but I don't have many students that are interested in that type of thing. So basically, I've been trying to. This is academic problems. Trying to build up the base. Build up the human capital here in this university to start attacking those types of problems. So we're looking at more applied stuff, things that can be applied quickly, rapidly, but using the same NVIDIA hardware. So
Okay.
my workers have a chance to understand how to program these things, how to program the NVIDIA boards, and then we can start actually looking at some of the harder problems.
Okay. Well, a really simple problem would just be like if you lose control or video, that it doesn't crash.
Yeah.
It like would you consider Return to Home artificially intelligent, or is that what would that be?
Um, yeah. If you're talking about, for example, a DJI Mavic or a Phantom Pro, that's approaching artificial intelligence, because then you've got, for example, uh, sensors that are looking for obstacles in the environment, and once you detect an obstacle, you have to figure out what the heck to do. Do you go up? Do you go down? Do you take another route? So that's a getting closer to artificial intelligence. But plain return to home, there's not many decisions that you need to take there. You just fly back to the first GPS point, and there you go. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, just a quick interruption here. Chat, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. They will pop up on the screen. I don't know, Matt, if you can see them.
No, I
Or
can't, but I'll check on my phone.
okay. Well, I can read them off if any happen. So far people are just saying hello.
Great. Hi, how you doing?
I'm not sure. No, it is kind of working. It's not. It seems to have an issue with Facebook. We'll
Yeah.
get that. I'll try to get that sorted. Um, Yeah, let's see what happens. I just restarted the chat
Hmm.
system. Oh, it's a TBS lounge. If there's no technical issues,
It's not a TBS lounge.
We're gonna have to break the internet if there's no technical issues.
yeah, people would be suspicious.
Yes.
um, so can you talk about like some of the stuff that you have been working on specifically in AI, like or is that top secret?
No, it's not top secret. Basically, I haven't been doing too much with AI recently, mainly because of the issue that we need to do practical stuff as a kind of a bootstrap to the lab.
Hmm.
The stuff that we're doing now is mainly related to, for example, using drones for reconnaissance missions for fighting forest fires. About 2 years ago, here in Chile, we had a nasty forest fire season. A couple towns burnt completely, probably 50% of the forest area burnt, and that's a large driver of the local economy. So we're attacking that problem first. But we're basically using NVIDIA hardware to do 3D reconstruction from photographs in real time. So basically, as the drone is flying, it's trying to reconstruct what's going on underneath the actual landscape underneath. And the idea is to give updated information to forest fires, or to
Okay.
the people that are fighting the forest fires.
Have you considered to use it for prevention, like using
Yeah,
infrared cameras to detect hotspots before they?
yeah, exactly. This is actually going to have a thermal camera on it. So the idea is, if there's a lot of smoke, for example, visual camera is not going to pick up too much, but hopefully the thermal camera will be able to pick up more, and we'll still be able to do a reasonably decent 3D reconstruction. Then after they finish fighting the main fire, there's still this possibility that it's going to restart. So having that thermal camera will allow them to be able to pinpoint, where are the potential areas where it's going to restart the fire. So yeah.
That's really interesting. Like, maybe just a quick detour. Like, with one of my friends in Switzerland. He's a pilot for the Swiss government,
Okay.
and they're paying him to fly around mountains with a thermal camera before forest fires actually happen,
Yep.
to identify really dry areas, and then
Okay.
they're going in there with a helicopter in advance and just pouring water on it, just to kind of prevent forest fires from happening. So that's have you thought
Yeah.
about that? Like an entire swarm, like scouring Chile every time it gets hot.
Uh, Unfortunately, we let me put it this way. There have been projects that have talked about um, looking for forest fires, early alerts for forest fires. The problem with Chile is that from basically December through June, there is no rain.
Okay,
So
so
everything
you would
is
have.
dry.
Okay,
You basically assume anywhere you go, you can start a forest fire. It's just that is the issue.
that's crazy.
Yeah. It also makes
Um,
great FPV, but
the chat is just asking. Actually, it's a really interesting question. I've looked a little bit into this with a previous employee. Um, have you thought about using artificial intelligence to replace or to tune a PID controller?
um, definitely possible. It's not necessarily. There are algorithms out there that can do a pretty good tune on a PAD controller. I'll put it that way. The Ardu Pilot does a pretty good job of tuning. It's maybe a little bit, the pins are a little bit high, but that's not artificial intelligence. That's just looking at how the quad responds. Gathering data and then lowering or raising the pin based on what it receives. So I suppose you could call that artificial intelligence, but it's not really.
I'm just Googling that. Sorry, go ahead.
It goes back to what we were saying before. If we know how to do it, it's not artificially intelligent.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I just saw like there's a neural network based adaptive PID controller, or there's papers on it at least. There's also a YouTube video that I've looked at. It's a pretty interesting approach. But it kind of shows where we're at in the stages of artificial intelligence. It's like we're going to use artificial intelligence just to make the drones fly smoothly.
What interests me, for example, would be using like these deep learning approaches. I don't know if you've seen the deep fake videos where they take the movements of one person and superimpose them on another person with that person's face. Have you seen that? That's cool.
Yeah. You mean just like the selfies where it just changes out the face?
No, it's like if you do a search for deep fake, there's videos of Obama saying things that he didn't really say.
Oh yeah. They do that with the voice as well, right?
Exactly. And so that interests me because I think that kind of stuff could be used to smooth videos, for example. So all the stabilization software that they have out there now, I'd like to see how that could be adapted using deep learning to produce smoother video.
That's interesting because it could probably even extend video beyond what you captured, right?
Not actually, yeah. There are approaches out there that do that. Microsoft's Hyperlapse basically does the same thing that we're doing in this project for the forest fires, basically doing some 3D modeling to be able to smooth the video without losing too much resolution, without losing too much of the sides and tops and bottoms of the video. So
that's super interesting. As you're talking, I might like veer off every once in a while to like show people what we're talking about. So this is a video produced by Hyperlapse where he's driving on a really bumpy road and it's just super smooth. So is that AI as well?
It's somewhere in between AI and just image processing. There's a large overlap between a lot of topics. I mean, AI is just kind of this basic umbrella term for a bunch of different disparate approaches to visual processing. For example, object detection is really image processing, but there's a little bit of AI in there because you need that to operate in strange environments.
Cool.
What you're saying, a lot of what I guess we could say the layman, the normal person, refers to as artificial intelligence may not actually be. It's more of a set of sensors and a yes or no answer type situation as opposed to AI. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying before. Is that once we know how to do something, it ceases to become AI. AI is something that, if we don't know how to do it, it's a problem for AI. Artificial intelligence, So back in the 1940s, when they were first trying to figure out how to, for example, play chess, they said, chess is a great measure of artificial intelligence. How intelligent is a machine? And then they realized that you could do that with a simple search. So something really simple, and basically I could write the code for that algorithm in 5 lines, 6 lines of code.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
basically just a tree of options, right? And
Exactly.
every response basically goes into another node, and then you have the
It-
best response to that node. Yeah.
exactly. So that's the minimax algorithm, and that you can write that recursively in about 6 lines of code. The actual search algorithm itself. That
But then you still need to build the structure for it, right? Or build
yeah,
the data.
yeah, you need to actually model the game, and that's a little bit more complicated. But the actual algorithm that does the intelligent things is really simple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
so that's what kind of this there's this dichotomy. You say artificial intelligence, but really a lot of the stuff we do isn't very complex. It,
So by definition, like once machines become smarter than humans, then we will actually have artificial intelligence, because then everything that happens from then on is no longer solvable by humans, right?
exactly. I mean, if we're getting to that point now. The chips that we produce, the computer chips that we produce, are largely produced by computers. So humans basically tell them the design parameters, and then the computer goes and takes that and optimizes it to for the job that it needs.
Okay, that's
So,
interesting.
so probably if you ask if anybody understands the current Intel chips, the answer is no, because they're so complex and they're so intricate that, and they've got so many transistors, so many switches to understand the circuitry. Probably no one human understands that, but we're using these computers that have the current generation of computers is designing the next generation of computers. And when they talk about the singularity, which is I
Yeah.
think where you're going, right? The
Slowly.
idea the idea there is that you have this artificial intelligence that is designing the next generation of artificial intelligence, and
Yeah,
you're going
without any parameters.
without any parameter. So you're just going to get this accelerating intelligence.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've read that the singularity is supposed to be here by, in terms of hardware, it would be ready by 2030, but it will take
Okay,
us until around 2040 to figure out. Is that about?
it's hard to say because we don't know what those parameters. When is it going to escape our understanding, right?
Okay.
For now, the artificial intelligences that we have, artificial intelligences, which are really what you most people in the field refer to as machine learning. So algorithms that learn, they're not very complex.
Mhm.
It's what they learn could be complex.
Yeah, it's just some big data problem basically that we just cannot comprehend anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like one of the things that personally interests me, like not in terms of business or anything, is just like figuring out whether there will be, because basically in, like once we hit singularity, we've created another god, right?
Basically, that could be good. I mean, if you look at the current leadership of the world, I could
Oh yeah,
question.
it can't get much worse, right?
Yeah,
um, but like the thing is, like will that, like, let's call it god for now, without like trying to offend anybody, so will that god like be focused on like being in the present, like in the actual world, like will that god build drones and roam around the beaches and check them out, or will that god be like a theoretical dude that's just going to be thinking about stuff, and just like improving itself
the,
over
the,
time.
the question is, would we know?
No, obviously not. I mean, even if we
Because
knew, we wouldn't comprehend it, right?
exactly. I mean, basically, going back to the Turing test, if we look at that as what we think of as intelligent, is basically measuring computer intelligence based on its likeness to human intelligence. And it's very unlikely that a computer would have that same human intelligence.
Yeah, it's kind of an arrogant approach to intelligence.
Well, it's the best that we've got. When we say, oh, these things are intelligent, these are the hallmarks of intelligence, but then we discover something else and they say, oh, well, maybe that's a hallmark of intelligence as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, yeah, it's pretty interesting to know. Like, I mean, Elon Musk is trying to go to Mars, right? Like,
yeah,
where is AI? Where is AI going to try to go? Because like Mars is really a small target to shoot for in in the cosmos type of
yeah.
sense, right? I mean, it's our next door neighbor. It's not even that much further than the moon. But yet there are like galaxies trillions of
Well,
light years away.
yeah, comparatively speaking, it's not that far away. But obviously, if we're going to expand beyond the solar system, we're going to need to do it via artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
And,
I agree.
and the question is whether we'll actually live long enough to see the fruits of our artificial intelligence labors. So,
Well, that's maybe we're getting too theoretical now, but like, wouldn't like artificial intelligence with a proper like human brain interface be able to like allow us to just download ourselves into a computer and then live forever?
That's a good question. That's been the fodder of science fiction for at least 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a movie. It's called The Singularity, right, with
Yep,
Johnny Depp.
yep, yep.
Exactly, that happens.
Starting with William Gibson's Neuromancer, that was one of the first brushes with that idea. Now, I don't know. There's currently a lot of theories out there that says for real artificial intelligence, you need to have like a body. You need to have some physical interaction with the world. That may be very human-centric thinking, but it's certainly a possibility. So the act of transferring your mind out of your body, if you think about the logistics of that, if you're just copying your mind, does that create another copy of you? Is that copy conscious? What happens to the conscious of the original person, right?
Yeah. Well, if
So,
it's a clone, right? I mean,
yeah.
if you get it on Banggood, it's gonna be exactly the same.
Great quality, yeah.
Yeah, and cheap.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Get
All
it
right.
in about 6 weeks too.
Yeah, it'll take 6 weeks. Oh my god. Oh, I forgot what I wanted to ask about. Like there was one question that really interested me, but it's completely.
That was the portion of the Elon Musk and Joe Rogan interview that really kind of threw my mind for a loop, was when he started talking about the ability to create like a second you, or to clone yourself. And then what you were just talking about there, Matt, was it's super interesting to think about the conscious side of it, and
Yeah.
or to think to think if it would ever be possible excuse me, to transfer conscious. I've always said in the past, like 10 years ago when I was making music, I just wish I had a USB jack in the side of my head that I could like plug up and dump the music that I heard out, because I was never able to make the music I heard in my head the same. And so something like, I don't know, the ability to add a jack to a person and dump a consciousness or something, is that, I know it sounds outrageous and far-fetched, but is that kind of the direction it could possibly go one day?
To be honest, I can't answer that. I don't know if we'll ever be able to download our conscience from our minds into some other artifact. Certainly, there's a lot of philosophical questions there that need to be answered. Science fiction has done a good job of actually exploring that. one of the reasons I got into artificial intelligence was a book that I read back in the 80s, 1984, I think, called Sinners by Pat Cadigan. And in that book, there was somebody that was doing exactly that, downloading or creating music videos out of images in his mind. So there's a whole bunch of issues there. For example, what happens if you have a stroke when you're connected to the net? Does that affect everybody else that's connected to that same net? Now, to be able to answer that fully, you actually need to answer the question, what is consciousness? How does that get created? And there isn't a consensus on that.
Well, and then again, like once you can answer it, it's no longer artificial intelligence, right?
Exactly. It may come to the point that we realize that we're not really intelligent, which is kind of weird to think about, but
yeah.
Well, I guess
we're just robots doing whatever our biology says that we're supposed to do.
Speak for yourself, okay?
At one point in that discussion, he came to the consensus that it's possible we are a simulation.
Yeah.
That part of the whole thing was really, kind of ties into this, what you're discussing. And it really threw my head for a loop to think about that,
What, was this before or after the weed?
I think it was after the weed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know, like I guess increasing the bandwidth at least for now to the computer networks, I guess that's where I guess that's how we can become more and more intelligent now, right? Like, because right now we're just like talking to our phones through our fingers.
Yeah.
So like once we have a more direct link, I guess Chris can start making movies, and I don't have to type so much anymore.
I definitely think
I don't know.
I definitely think that's coming. I think it's definitely possible. One of the other interests of mine is what they call augmented reality and a little bit of haptic feedback. They've done experiments looking at the plasticity of the human brain and what kind of inputs and outputs it can give. And one of the things that they discovered is it's fairly simple to add extra senses.
Yeah.
For example, there's this company called NorthSense, which creates a belt that has a bunch of motors in it, and it basically vibrates at specific points in the belt to point to north. And wearing that belt over a long period of time, you basically develop the sense of develop a sense of direction.
Okay.
So what we wanted to do, I started looking at this in relation to drones, is having like ultrasonic distance sensors all around the drone, and then using that belt or a similar belt to tell you how close you are to any obstacle. So if you're piloting a drone in an enclosed area, you can actually tell, I'm about 2 feet from this wall, so I don't want to go too far that way. So
that's great.
So the idea is to give yourself more senses. So based on that idea, and they've done lots of experiments using that, I think that brain computer interface will come.
Okay, that's good to hear. We can
What's
finally
will it be a point where that could be achieved? I mean, are we going to have to like install some sort of two-way communication, or is there a point where they think that, like brain waves could be read wirelessly? Is that crazy or?
Well, they already do some sort of brainwave wireless. Basically, the EEGs that you see are basically sensors outside the skull. So, and they're measuring electrical impulses in the brain. MRIs, the functional MRIs, they do something similar as well. To be able to do it compactly, probably you'd actually need to implant something into your head.
All right, cool. Unfortunately, we're all out of time.
Okay.
I would love to go on for hours, but that's our hour. We would love to have you back, man. I think we're going to be talking. I've been approached by I think it's University of Penn State,
Okay.
a guy that's working there. He's actually developing an artificial intelligence algorithm to fly drones through a race course.
Yeah. Excellent.
Plus, one more guy, I forget what he was doing. He was referred to by Jenny from
Yeah,
Brain FPV.
I think he's doing something very similar, that mind interface to fly drones or something like that.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll be bringing more stuff like that. Also, Christopher Cleo just posted a link that visitors can check out. He says like it's a practical way to learn about AI without all the fluff.
Excellent.
Sounds interesting. Well, Google will probably make me read that pretty soon.
Of course.
All right. So for everybody else, if you've enjoyed this, please hit the share button, share it out, let other people know about it. Check us out in the TBS Lounge. Matt, thank you very much. We wish you all the best in the reconstruction efforts.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll talk to you. You said we were going to be like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
I'll be back. I'll be back on the 6th. So after that, no problem.
All right. Well, after that, I'm probably going to be on holidays. Maybe if if they let me go, I'm looking to go to New Zealand to do flying.
You get holidays? I'm jealous.
It's the first time in well, I've been on holidays once for a week since I started the company, which was in 2011. So
you need to take it, then, brother. You need to take it.
Yeah, man. I kind of I don't deserve it, but I need it. All right. So thanks very much again. Please share it out. Let other people know about this talk. I think it was super interesting. Thank you very much for enlightening us and talking about this really interesting stuff. And like I said, all the best with your recovery efforts. Thanks, Chris, Random FPV, for being on from the Quad House. And this has been Trappy, and we're signing out. See you again next week.
See you.